up in here when when I actually answer it in the wrong way, and it's not the hunter. So that it was the hunter's handprint among the herd, okay, of the animal. So here he didn't mention anything about the hunter, but I said a hunter. Why? Because I like the answer. It's not the answer you like. It's about the correct answer, for God's sake. So then he could have a way for them to sign the work. That's the idea. The artist, he signs his work with his handprint. Now let's go next. Okay. Which of the following statements most accurately reflects the author's opinion about the purpose of the cave's painting? Okay. Now, the cave's painting were part of a hunting ritual. Artists were honoring the... Okay, so for example, give me a second. Reflects the author's opinion about the purpose of the cave's painting. So, anyway, we will continue doing that. Like, we continue solving things. So, let's continue solving the whole thing, and I want you to, when you actually practice this session, try to solve the things. The cave's painting were part of a hunting ritual. Okay, artists were honored their animals' ancestors in cave's painting. The exact purpose of the cave's painting is not known. Decoration was probably the main reason for painting in caves. Now, I want to answer this question. I need to understand it here from the hair. Like, so let's see here. Now, which one reflects the author's opinion about the purpose of the cave painting? When he talked about the several millennia here, following the 30,000 CC and whatever, so he was talking about what? He was talking about painting, like he was talking about sometimes it is like part of hunting rituals. That's one of the assumptions. Also, like artists were honoring animals and ancestors. That's cuckoo somehow. So now the only one that expresses the whole idea is the exact person of cave painting is not known. They don't know. They have assumptions about the hunting, assumptions about artists, assumptions about anything. That's what he said. He took guesses, assumptions about things. Okay? Very nice. Guess, assumptions. Because the author, okay, he presented several different theories. He had theories. Now, what's the meaning of theory? Theory, that means, like, we're not sure yet. It's a theory about something. Okay? Now here, let's put that sentence inside. Okay? So here we have this sentence. And ultramere, for example, penal remains show that red deer, not bison, were eaten. So it's talking about here eating like animals. So let's find here. So when you talk about people depend on their food supplies and for their clothes, okay, that might be because he's talking about food and clothes. Very nice. Now let's go for another one here. Our central problem that the hunting magic and food creation theories is that animals that seems to have been diet staples of all stone ages, people are not those who are frequently betrayed. Okay, somehow. And here it's the accompanying image that's weird and painting weird. So it's one of two. Now which one should I put it? Here was talking about part of their clothing, okay, of their clothes. Now that's clothes, and I'm talking about an animal that's been eaten. So here also people are most frequently betrayed. Yes. So here it's in the second sentence here. Very nice. So portrayed. Now, so here for those most frequent portrayed, because here he was talking about animals, that theories about animals can be eaten. Okay? Now, the direction here of introduction short summary. of the passage appears below the complete summary by selecting the 3 answers or whatever. Okay, so we will select the 3 answers that actually best explains the thing. Now let's read the answers. Let's try to select from them. Now let's read the answers very fast. Okay. Some of the lines and geometrical figures beside the drawings could be very early from like the writings and so on without reading and boring with the stuff. So what should I do? I should like find the things that are related to this. Now, I know that the reading can be obstacle, can be boring sometimes. Even me, when I'm trying to explain it here, it might be boring for you. So the key of learning the reading part is by solving a lot of reading things. Now the answer here for this one, it will be this one. Now from now on, for the next one, we'll introduce the thing and we'll introduce like the answer for it. Like we'll take like 10 minutes talking about the question and the answer for that question. Okay, so what I want you to do is that thing. Okay, so that for that video, I want you to pause. When I, for example, like this, so I want you to pause here. So pause here, after I say this, pause, and try to like mind map the whole thing as we actually like have learned to do. So pause here, and let's continue. So pause here, that's the first one. Read it, take 2 minutes, 3 minutes maximum to read it. So then continue. Continue here like this. The first question, pause, and take 1 minute, do it. Okay. Then go. Then pause again for this one. Then go to see like if you're correct or not. So when you pause and answer, then see if you're correct or not and see the explanation. Now again. Then pause. Considerable. Continue. Pause again. Pause and try to solve it. Take 1 minute. Then get to know the answer. So after I change the question, you pause the video. Okay. So that's the end. So break, we were talking about the reading, and I told you that after each reading, I need you to pause. Instead of wasting time and trying to do it, I need you to do the last part of the reading, the last piece of reading. I want you to do it alone. So to do it alone, so I kept on clicking. I need you to pause and solve the questions. Now let's go for something else. The nice thing, okay, the listening part. Now, so let's talk about the listening part. The listening part is amusing, is nice. Now, so you will do some listening skills now. A whole test of listening, we will do it today. We'll do it together. Okay, so let's start by the first one. Now, let's listen to this listening, this audio.
Listen to part of a conversation on campus between two students.
I wish I was sure about my future as you seem to be. I really don't know what I want to do after I graduate.
Well, have you talked with a counselor over at the Office of Career Development?
No, I talked to my academic advisor, though.
Well, that's good. But it's really better to see someone who specializes in helping people make career decisions. You see, an academic advisor is there to help you work out your academic program. You know, figure out what your major is going to be and which courses to take and all that. But a career counselor has a lot of experience and resources to help you decide what you want to do in the work world.
Did you see a career counselor?
I sure did, last semester. I didn't even know what I'd be good at, for a career, I mean. So I made an appointment at the Office of Career Development, and I talked with a counselor.
Do you remember who it was?
Sure, it was Ruth Jackson.
Oh, but since I'm interested in careers for math majors, probably I should see someone else.
Not really. Any of the counselors can help you. Look, first, I took some aptitude tests and something called I think it was called a career inventory. Anyway, I took several tests, and then the counselor gave me some ideas about different careers. I even went to some group sessions with some other students for a few weeks. Mrs. Jackson was the group leader, so, that's how I met her, and then I just sort of naturally started making my appointments with her when I needed some advice.
It sounds like it took a lot of time. I'm so busy already.
Well, it did take time. Probably 3 hours for the tests, and I think I went to maybe 4 group sessions, and then I saw Ruth a couple of times. I guess about 9 or 10 hours, probably. But it was worth it.
So, is that why you decided to go into library science? Because of the tests and everything?
In part, but mostly it was because of the internship. You see, I also got my internship through the Office of Career Development, and when I was working as an intern in the public library, it all sort of came together for me. I really liked what I was doing, and I realized that I didn't want the internship to end.
And you get paid for working there in the library too, don't you?
I get paid, and I get credit toward my degree. But even better, I have a job offer from the library where I'm doing my internship.
Wow. Are you going to take it?
I think so. I have to let them know next week. If I do take the job, I'll have to go to graduate school to get a degree in library science. But I can do that part-time while I'm working, and I'd thought about graduate school anyway. So I'm leaning toward taking the job.
That's great, Anne. I'm glad for you. So, I guess I'd better make an appointment with Ruth Jackson. Maybe she can find me an internship.
Maybe.
1. What are the students mainly discussing? 2. What is the man's problem? 3. Why does the woman tell the man about her experience? 4. What is the woman's attitude toward her internship? 5. What will the man probably do?
Okay, so did you take notes? I took lots of notes. So did you take notes to answer the upcoming question? Okay, so that's the first listening. We took notes about it. Let's go next and do it. Now, the first question here, what are the students mainly discussing? Group sessions in the Office of Career Development, advanced career counseling for the man, the woman's internship in the Office of Career Development, how to find employment in the field of career counseling. Okay, so yes, it was mainly about the man. She was telling her story to him. Okay, so it's the advantages of career counseling for the man. Very nice. Go next to the next question. What's the man problem? He doesn't have time to see an advisor. He doesn't have time. I'm so sorry. He doesn't have an internship yet. Okay. Now, he doesn't know which career to choose. He doesn't have a job offer after graduation. So, which one? Yes, he was looking for an advisor. Very nice. So, he doesn't know, very nice, which career to choose. Now, what's the man's problem? He doesn't know. He doesn't have the time to see an advisor. He doesn't have the time to an internship. No. So we said he doesn't know, which career to choose. Okay? Good. Now, why does the woman tell the man about her experience? To demonstrate the benefits of going to the office. Okay? To encourage him, to suggest, to give you like a minute to answer it. Look at your notes. So what do you have on your notes? She was trying to what? To encourage him, to suggest, to give him, to demonstrate? Yes, to demonstrate. So she was trying to demonstrate the benefits of having that thing. And do you remember the name of the counselor? Ruth? Very nice. And she, yes, it's she, not he. Okay? So she wanted to demonstrate the benefits of going to office career development. Now let's go next. Okay, now what's the woman's attitude toward her internship? She would rather go to graduate school. She's looking forward to interning. She thinks that this is a very positive experience. She will be happy, sorry, there's a typo. She'll be happy when she completes it. So what does she think about the internship? Yes, she said that she thinks that it's a positive experience, according to what she said. Okay? What will the man probably do? He'll make an appointment with his academic supervisor. He will go to the office career development. He'll apply for a job to the library. He'll ask the woman to help him with his test. So, correct. He will go to the office career development. Now let's go for the second one. Okay. Now prepare your notes. Prepare to take notes. We will compare my notes with your notes this time. So the first one was the open in general. Second one now, we will take notes, both of us, and I will ask you, did you take the same notes or not? Okay? So let's play.
Listen to part of a lecture in a sociology class.
Social influence involves the changes in behavior influenced by the actions of other people. Social influence can come about for a variety of reasons, on a continuum from mere suggestion to, in the more severe form, well, to torture. How does social influence work? Well, first, we must become aware of a difference between ourselves and the values or behaviors of other people. There are a great many studies of social influence that demonstrate how the presence of others can cause us to change our attitudes or actions. Studies show that people eat more when dining with others than I'm talking about dining out here, so they eat more in the company of others than they do when they're alone. They also run faster when others are running with them. There's even some interesting research on social influence among animals with similar results to those of human studies. Probably one of the most interesting aspects of social influence is the pressure for conformity. Conformity is a process by which an individual's opinion or behavior moves toward the norms of the group. In a classic study by Solomon Asch, 7 people were shown cards with 3 lines drawn on them. Here's an example. So, they were shown the lines, and then they were asked to select the line among the 3 that matched the standard line. Here's the standard. So there's no question as to the comparison. This has to be easy, right? Wrong. You see, Asch enlisted the cooperation of 6 of the 7 participants in the experiment. On the first card, the 6 respond correctly. They identify the lines of the same length. So the 7th person, who is the only real subject in the experiment, well, the 7th person answers correctly, in agreement with the others. But on the next card, 4 of the cooperating participants choose an incorrect answer, but they're in agreement. So the problem for the subject is whether to conform to the opinion of the peer group, even though the answer is in conflict with the answer that the subject knows to be correct. So, what do you think happened? Well, subjects who were tested alone made errors in answers fewer than 1% of the time. This was the control group. But of those tested in groups of 7, 75% yielded at least once to conform to a group answer that was clearly incorrect. And, on average, subjects conformed to the group in about 37% of the critical trials. This means that they were bringing their behavior into agreement with group norms, in spite of what they were seeing. Later, Asch manipulated the size of the control group, the experimental group, to see whether group size would affect pressure, and it did, but probably less than you might expect. Groups of 4 demonstrated about the same results as groups of 8. Interestingly enough, a unanimous agreement by the group was more important than the number. In other words, a unanimous opinion by 3 exerted more pressure to conform than a majority of 7 with a dissenting opinion in a group of 8. Similar experiments have been performed in various countries among diverse cultural groups with comparable results. Of course, people in cultures that emphasize group cooperation tended to be more willing to conform. But remember that many of the original studies were done in the United States, where there's a high value placed on individualism. In an interesting variation on the study, Abrams found that conformity is especially strong when the group is selected from among those people that the subject clearly identifies with, either because they have characteristics in common or they know each other and interact in a peer group outside of the experimental situation. So what does all of this mean in the real world? Well, since group members can influence one another to conform to the opinion of the group decisions of a group may be called into question. What about decisions by political committees or parliaments? What about juries who are charged with convicting or acquitting an accused defendant? Clearly, social influence will play a part in these critical group decisions. Also interesting is the fact that after a decision is made by a group, there's a tendency to solidify. And by that I mean that the group becomes even more convinced of the validity of the group opinion. This may happen because individual group members who strongly support the group tend to be more popular with the group members.
6. What is the main topic of the lecture? Seven. According to the professor, what two results were reported in the Ash and Abrams studies? Eight. Listen again to part of the lecture and then answer the following question.
Later, Ash manipulated the size of the the experimental group, to see whether group size would affect pressure, and it did, but probably less than you might expect.
Why does the professor say this?
The experimental group.
Nine. What generally happens after a group makes a decision? 10. Based on information in the lecture, indicate whether the statements describe the Ash study. What is the professor's attitude about the studies on social influence?